Hi guys, welcome back to Swordwind. We are the Charlotte branch of the New York Historical Fencing Association, and in this video we're going to continue our series on solo practice drills with the what we call in Swordwind ribbon cuts. This is not a drill that is taken from any particular historical manual, although it has kind of analogs in various sword arts. One of the things that is sort of frustrating about practicing KDF is that the historical material we have simply doesn't include a lot of ways how to practice. Now, there are probably, among the dozen or so of you that actually watch this channel, there are probably about a million Meyerists who are about to furiously type at me on their keyboards that Meyer's book actually does contain a variety of practice drills, and that is very true. And those are very useful. We can get at those in a later video. If you want to think about this from a Meyer perspective, this is what I'm about to do is basically just the first ring of a Meyer square. The drill looks like this. Let me make sure I'm away from my tree here. I'm going to start in Vomtag, cut a right Oberhau with a step, and once I've hit my endpoint, I'm going to let my sword continue down into a Crosshandsnebenhut. I'm going to cut an Unterhau with no step, and once I've hit my kind of extended ox position, I'm done with my cut now, and I'm going to let this flow around over my head to over my left shoulder. Now I'm not going to drop all the way down into a kind of a settled left Vomtag. Instead, I'm going to make a left Oberhau. Once I've hit my endpoint, flow into an open Handsnebenhut, cut with no step, flow over to my right side, cut with a step. Once I've hit my endpoint, flow back, and you can chain these together across your backyard, the shore of a lake, whatever picturesque place you have to practice at. Less stopping, that looks like this. And so on. Now, what is the point of this drill? There's a lot of things you can use this to practice. These are very basic cuts. They are pretty much the most basic cuts in any kind of two-handed longsword-like system. The one way to use this drill is simply to listen for your sword wind and say, can I even keep my edge aligned as I'm making these cuts, one after the other? I can make a nice sword wind maybe as with a single cut, with or without a step, but can I do it kind of over and over, throwing maybe 50 of these things going back and forth across my backyard. Another thing you can use this to practice is not using your arms. If you are kind of muscling through your cuts with your arms, then doing this across the whole yard is going to get really tired. And you will notice you're doing it wrong because your arms are tired, you're out of breath, and so forth. Instead, you want to make sure that these cuts flow together very nicely. You want to make sure that you're throwing them with your hips. You can even, if you really want to focus on your hips, you can even be kind of lazy with your arms and with your edge alignment, just for the purpose of saying, all right, am I really getting that hip swing in when I'm throwing these cuts? You can use it also to practice. Pressure. The idea that I'm not just kind of throwing cuts moving in a forward direction, but I am imagining an opponent in front of me, and I have forward motion with a purpose. That everything I am doing is I am only moving the parts of me that are necessary to harm my opponent, and I am being conscious about keeping every other piece of motion still, trying to work out those little pieces of extraneous motion that accumulate into basically being slower in your fencing. And of course it's also just a way to kind of practice these really basic cuts while doing something a little more entertaining than just standing here and cutting and cutting and cutting. Not that there is anything wrong with that, and we'll make a video about the importance of that in the future, but we are human beings, we do get bored. The reason we call these ribbon cuts, by the way, is because the path of the sword makes basically the shape of a breast cancer ribbon or a support our troops ribbon as it comes up, makes a loop, and then comes back down again. So one more time, first half of a Meyer square, first quarter of a Meyer square, I should say, with the long edge. Cut down, cut up, cut down, cut up. That is down with a step, up with no step, down with a step, up with no step, and so forth. It's a simple drill, but there's a lot of ways you can, a lot of pieces that you can focus on in it. I encourage you, especially if you are starting out, to focus on one piece of the drill at a time. Trying to kind of do everything right when you're doing this sort of thing is likely to just overload your brain, and you don't actually end up learning anything from it as much as you would if you say, all right, this is the one thing I'm going to try and get perfect on when I do it this time. I hope this has been useful for you guys, and we'll see you next week.